welcome everybody. We want to get to it, pretty quickly. We have an experienced developer from the XDC ecosystem who is also an XIP editor and a contributor who helps a lot in the community with other devs in the community. So his name is Phill. Phill, you want to introduce yourself really quick and then just explain to everybody what you're going to be covering today?
Yeah, so hello everyone, my name is Felipe. You guys can call me Phill. I am a developer from Brazil. I've been working in blockchain for 4 years now. Before blockchain, I used to working in hardware. Now I'm kind of migrating to software. So I have this experience in research, and now we are building things for the XDC community, and we are very happy to be part of this ecosystem. Okay, guys. So what I wanted to talk with you guys today was is to how we can what we can do to integrate our front end to the XDC network by using the XDCPay wallet. So one of the things that we'll need to do that is first of all, you need to install the XDCPay wallet. Right, you can find it on the Chrome Web Store. This tutorial probably you could use to connect your dApps to MetaMask too, but today we're covering just the XDCPay wallet. Another thing that we'll need is Node.js. If you guys have Node.js installed, you can go ahead and type node minus version to see the version of Node that you are running. For this tutorial, I recommend you using version 16 or plus, 16 or above. We also need to use Git. You can go ahead and type Git version. See the version of Git you are using. I'm not going to go over how to install this because if you're using Linux, probably the installation will be a different process. So you can go to git scm.com to see how to install for the OS that you're using. And last but not least, we are using Virtual Studio Code as our text editor. So you can go to code.visualstudio.com to install the version that better suits the OS you're using. So you have these 3 pieces of software installed, and you have installed your XDCPay wallet, or as I said, you can also use MetaMask. We can start with a template that I have prepared for this tutorial. Just 1 sec. This is a template that we'll be using today. I will share the link to the tutorial on the chat if you guys want to follow along and try to follow the steps that I'll be doing today. I just have to find the chat room. Okay. Lance, do you mind if I send you the link so you can share with you guys?
Yeah.
I don't think I can.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So once you have this link, you can go to code and you can copy the Git URL to this template, and we can go ahead and Git clone, paste this URL. We'll be cloning the template that we have prepared. You can go ahead and run code. Just 1 second. We have to go to the directory first. And we have just downloaded. We can go and type code, and it will open our our workspace that we're working on. You want to start a new terminal on this window. And once you have installed this template, you need to install a few dependencies that we need to start developing. So of course, the package .json file already has most of the dependencies that we'll be using. And to install those, we need to run npm install or npm I. And while these dependencies are being installed, let's just take a look at how the folder looks like. This template, we have these two components. There's a component called content and a component called header. And once we have installed all the dependencies, I'll show you guys where exactly are those. But the idea in this tutorial, the idea today is how we can use the Ethereum object that is injected by our Web3 wallet. How we can take this object and use it to access data on the blockchain. So if you have MetaMask installed, or if you have your XDCPay wallet installed, you'll be what you do actually, you are injecting this Ethereum object to every single page that you visit on the internet, right? So what we want to do today is find out how we can use this object to send transactions to the blockchain. And to do that, we'll need to create a context on our app. We can go ahead and create a context folder. And in this context, what we want to do is bring this Ethereum object from the browser inside our dApp, right? And in our dApp, we have these two components. One of them is the navbar, which we call header in the workspace, and the another one is the body of the web page. And the body of the web page we are calling content in the component list. And so the thing is, how we bring this Ethereum object and plug this Ethereum object to these to this pieces of the software that we are trying to create, right? So we start by creating this context. We'll call it Web3 model context.tsx. And things that we will need to use here are a few functions that are native to React. We'll be using useState, useEffect, create context, and use callback to create callback functions. We need to import the Web3 model from Web3 model. Web3 model is a library created by Wallet Connect to provide a gateway to a touch point to connect the Ethereum object to the front end, and provide a lot of different ways to connect our Web3 wallets to our dApp. You need to import a Web3 object from Web3, and to connect to XDCPay, we'll be using importing provider options from the XDCPay Connect library. So you will be getting this error saying that you still don't have these 3 dependencies installed. So what you need to do is open a new window and install these 3 dependencies. You can run an npm y, or you can use npm install as well. Let's grab these guys here, Web3 model, Web3, and XDCPay Connect. You can try run it, but it might you might get an error because the version of TypeScript that we are using on the template is 4.4.2, and the version of TypeScript that that the XDCPay Connect library uses is I think it's TypeScript 4.8.0. Let's just see if we'll get an error here. Okay, it seems like everything is installed correctly. We don't need to worry about the mismatch of TypeScript versions. As we have this installed, we can start by, I'm not going to go over all the code that we're writing here today because we have limited time, but what I want to do is just give you guys an idea of what each piece of code is doing for us here. First we have to create a Web3 context interface, so we can use globally, and it will look something like this. It will have the Web3 object. Again, this Web3 object is just is created by importing the Ethereum object that we have, that our wallet is providing for us on the front end, which is this guy here. We have a connect function. We have a disconnect function. We have an account constant and a chain ID constant. And we'll see why we need these constants and these objects later on. Another thing that we need to create is create and initialize the Web3 context itself. Here we have created the interface. Now we have to create the Web3 context itself. And we can do by writing this. We'll be initializing all these objects and functions with no values or empty, because we are going to define them later. And now we can actually create a Web3 model provider, which is what really will will serve these Web3 model contexts to the rest of the dApp. Again, this Web3 model context, it is also available on the XDC community tutorials. So I will be sharing this with you guys once we have once we get to the end of this tutorial. And what we do here is we create a Web3 model, which is this object is the one that we will be using inside our decentralized app. The Web3 object, the account, and the chain ID. We are using user state, which is native from React. Another thing that we need to do is to inject when the provider is injected, it means when this Ethereum object is available on the web page, we need to update our Web3 model. We'll be doing that by creating an use effect. This will update whenever a new Web3 model is detected on the web page. And this provider options is already setting our Web3 provider with the information we need to connect to XDCPay. Okay. Once we have created this Web3 model object, we'll need to subscribe to the provider. And what I mean by subscribing to the provider is we want to listen whenever this object says that it closed, whenever the object says that the account has changed, and whenever this object says that the network has changed. And what I mean by that is, for example, if I go here and write console.log, and I want to print the account. Save it. And we go to this web page. Whenever I change my accounts, this guy should be updating the front end with the where's okay. This guy should be updating the front end with the account value that we have changed. Right now, I won't be able to show this because I first need to import the Web3 context to the front end. But so we'll see how this works. Let me just check why this Web3 model is not updated. What we are really doing in this context actually is we are providing to whenever object that we are wrapping this provider, we are providing a Web3 object, a connect function, a disconnect function, a account constant, and a chain ID constant. And if we export this Web3 provider, we can go ahead and go to our app and import Web3 model provider and wrap this Web3 model provider around our decentralized app like this. And what we're doing here, we are providing the header and the content with these Web3 objects and all the other functions that we need to connect to the blockchain. This is important. It is important because let's say you have a lot more of components on your page. Let's say you have an swap component, and then you have, let's say, lottery component. And all these single components will be able to use the same information that you have being provided by this Web3 provider. To have wrap these components with our Web3 provider, we can go ahead and start using those functions that we have defined here on the Web3 provider to our app. And the first thing we want to do is go to the header of our app, which is this part here on top of the app. And we want to make it so this button here connect us to the blockchain, connect us to the XDCPay wallet. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to import context. And to fetch those functions that I have mentioned from the Web3 model, we have to do a const. We use the account. We use the connect function and the disconnect function. And we use the use context function from React, and we need to import this Web3 context. Okay. Whenever we are connected to a decentralized app, if we are not connected to the app, we don't have these account constant available. It will return null for us. So what we can do is we can say that whenever I don't have an account, I want to show this. And whenever I have an account, I want to show something different. I want to show what my account release. So what I'm doing here is, if I don't have an account connected, I'm showing not connected. And if I do have an account connected, I want to show this account that I have connected. Okay. If we go back here, nothing happens because we still don't have connected the wallet to the web page, right? So we have to create some way to connect this wallet to the web page. So what we're going to do is create an on-click property here in this object and create a handle connect function. And up here we can create this handle connect function that we are trying to call. So we got handle connect function that is a React callback function. And what we want to do is simply call this connect from our Web3 provider. Let's copy this. And we want to import connect as a dependency to this callback. So if we go back to our app now and click on not connected, you see that it's now reflecting the account that we have on XDCPay. Okay. So it's not looking good right now, right? So I want you to make so this address show same size as the disconnect disconnected button. What we can do is use this function that I left here, ellipse address, and use it on the account. So now if we go back to the DAP, all you see is that the address now is being sliced. We sliced the first six letters from the address. We put 3 points in between the address, and then go in and close with another 4 characters from this address. Okay, so we can connect, but we still cannot disconnect from this from our XDCPay wallet. What we want to do is go on this side of the code, which is whenever we are connected, we want to be also able to disconnect from the XDCPay wallet. Handle disconnect function. We can go ahead and create our callback function. Handle disconnect by using React. Use callback, and whenever this button is used, we want to use the disconnect function that we are pulling from the Web3 provider. And we want to use disconnect as one of the dependencies of this callback function. Use callback. And now if we go back to our DAP and we click on the connect button, you see that we have now disconnected from XDCPay. And if you go ahead and click again, we can connect again, and we can go back and forth. Now the app is completely integrated to the XDCPay wallet. Another thing that I want to do is, since we already have been able to connect our DAP to the blockchain, we want to fetch a few information from the blockchain. We want to fetch, for example, the XDC address is the same address that we see up here. We can show what is the chain ID that we are connected to, and last but not least, we want to fetch the XDC balance that we have on that particular wallet that we are using. And we can also show if our wallet is connected or disconnected. So let's move to the content part of the DAP. And here in the content, what I want to do is do the same that we did in the header. I want to import the Web3 context. And we want to use the account chain ID, and here we'll be using our Web3 object. And we will use React, use context, and we'll be importing this context from our Web3 model context that we have imported here. So the reason why I'm not importing the connect and disconnect button in this part of the code is because we don't have anything inside the body of the document that we can use to actually connect or disconnect. The only piece of code that we need to care about using the connect and disconnect functions are actually the connect button that we have up here. So here you're using just the account, the chain ID in the Web3 object. So I want to go to my XDC address. And instead of input data, I'm going to use my account. If the account is null, because in this case, the account can be null. So we have to check for that. If the account does exist, we are going to print the account. But if it doesn't, what we're going to do is print something like an empty string. So if we go back to the dApp and connect again to the XDCPay, you see that now we have the XDC address that we have here available on the body of the document. Something that is important to notice is that, for example, on the global app, I have used the Web3 model. I have used the header and the content as children for this Web3 model provider. So if for example, I would take the content out of the Web3 model provider, right? Now the content doesn't have access to the Web3 provider. What happens to my app is I can see nothing because the body doesn't see the Web3 object, right? That's why it is important to anything that would use the blockchain on the dApp is inside this Web3 provider. Another thing that I want to do here is I want to get the network I'm connected to. So what we can do is create a function here that's called get chain ID. This is a function, and if there is a chain ID object, what we do is we set current chain ID to chain ID, or else we're going to set the current chain ID to some empty value. So we also need to create this chain ID. We need to create this set current chain ID state here. We're going to use to create a connected chain ID and the setter for these connected current chain ID, which is called the set current ID. And we're gonna initialize it as an empty string. And what we want to do is use this current chain ID on the connected to region of our body. We want to display the chain ID here. So we're going to paste it here. Okay. But the problem here is whenever the React app starts, it will render these values, but it won't re-render if we don't tell it to do so. So what we need to do is create an React use effect, and inside this React use effect, what we want to do is call this get chain ID function, and we'll get this chain ID function whenever the chain ID changes. So if we save it here, go to our app and connect to the XDCPay, you can see that now it is displaying the chain ID that we are connected to. And if we change the network we are using, for example, if I would like to change to the mainnet, it will be updated, showing the current chain ID that I'm connected to. Same thing goes for the address. Okay, if we change the address we are using here on the XDCPay wallet, let's say I want to use the account number 1 here, and my address here is updated, and here as well. So another thing that is pretty easy to do right now is to verify if the wallet is connected or not, right? We can simply create another function called the get wallet status function. And if there is an account, it means if we are connected to XDCPay, and if there is a chain ID, we want to set the wallet status to true. Else, if there's no account available, it means that we are not connected. So we want to set wallet status to false. And once we have defined this function, we want to include that to the use effect, and we want to update that whenever a new account is detected. Because it checks for account and chain ID, so we now want to watch for the account whenever the account changes and whenever the chain ID changes. If you go back to our app, now you see that whenever I disconnect from the XDCPay, I can see my address, I can see the chain ID I'm connected to, and it shows that the wallet is disconnected. And if I go ahead and click on connect, right? Now we see the address, chain ID, and now we see that the wallet is connected. We can also show that on MetaMask, because as I mentioned before, it also works for MetaMask if you're using. Let me just check if I'm using the XDC Network here. And you can see that I can also connect this app to the XDC network by using MetaMask. Okay, the only thing that is left here that we still haven't done is fetching the my XDC balance from the blockchain. And that's why I have imported this Web3 object to the app. What I want to do is create a new function called get balance. First, just create the use state for this balance here. My balance and set my balance. Use state, and let's start it with empty string. So I want to create this get balance function. This time we are creating an async function, because if you guys have used async, we have worked with promises before, you know that when you need to wait for response for a promise to be resolved, you need to define that function as an async function. This time what we're going to do is, if we have an account, we want to create a balance constant. We want to await until our Web3 object has resolved fetching our balance from the network. And this get balance function is a function that is native to the EVM. So whenever you have a Web3 object available, you will have this get balance function available as well. And this is only for native currency, native cryptocurrency. You can use this for fetching for ERC20 compatible assets. If you guys want to talk more how to do that for XDC, for ERC or XRC20 tokens, we can talk later on how we can implement that. Once we have this balance for the account that I'm using, I want to set my balance. And another method that we are using from the Web3 object that we have imported is the totals. We want to use the from way function. Because once you have, once you fetch this balance from the blockchain, it will come with 15 decimal basis, right? So let's say you have one XDC, what you get here is like 1 times 10, then should be 18th power. So what I'm doing here is transforming these 18 decimals to a readable form to display on the front end. Okay, let's just check here first if the Web3 object is also available. Here's only Ether. Okay. Else, if I don't have either, I don't have an account available, or if I don't have an Web3 object available, I want to set my balance to empty string, and I'll try to do that. Whenever the account changes, whenever the chain ID changes, and whenever the Web3 object changes. So this is the first time we are actually fetching information from the blockchain. aside from everything that is already available for us on the XDC, on our web XDC wallet. So if I go here and I just forgot to copy the balance and actually display the balance on the front end. And if we go ahead and run our app, and we connect to the blockchain, we see now that we can display the XDC balance that I have on my XDC wallet, which is exactly the same that I have here. And if I change to the testnet, you see that my balance will update accordingly with the amount of testnet XDC that I have on my account. So this is how you start a decentralized app by using XDCPay. This is pretty simple, but you see that we need to take a lot of small steps to get these things connected. Since we have already spent most of the time we had for today, I'm going to wrap it up with here. And the code that we have, the source code that we have wrote here today in this tutorial will be available for you guys if you guys want to have a look more calmly and see what exactly are the changes that we have done to get this initial dev up and running.